Hey everyone, it's Crystal and Shannon, and today we are going to do a tag. Now, what tag video are we doing?
We're doing the reading problems tag.
I know, well there's so many problems. Ugh, how do we decide? So we figured that we'd go over it today and see if our answers are going to be the same.
Like your answers.
Exactly.
So you should probably tell us your answers. Especially if you're entertaining.
Yes.
I am all...
As always, like this video and subscribe to us, and let's get into the questions. Question number 1. We have over 20,000 books to read in our TBR list. How do you decide what book you're going to read next?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. I'll like read the backs and then go through my emotions and see how I'm feeling that day. And then there are other days where I'm like, I'll throw them and pick one up. And I'll be like, this
throw
one.
Your books
On the bed.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
I'm not that mean.
Whereas I just kind of figure out what genre I'm in the mood for. So I'm in the mood for young adult. Am I in the mood for romance? Do I like fantasy? Am I looking for mystery? Do I want an adult book? What do I want? And then from there, it's kind of whatever cover calls to me.
That happens. In a bookstore, it's what cover like, calls to me. At home, it's like
that one.
If it's already come home with me, then it's...
Well, there's still, something will call to me more than others, which is why book covers are so important, even though they say don't judge a book by its cover. I do.
I do too.
So that's...
Not sorry.
No, sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
Alright, so the next question was, you're about like halfway through a book, and you're just not loving it. So do you finish it? Are you committed? Or do you go, no, and just drop it?
So, on this one, it depends on the book that I'm reading. So, for example, when I was reading
Eat, Pray, Love.
Eat, Pray, Love, I did go through.
You did
I did finish it. And that's because it was little bite-sized chunks, those little prayer beads, and I could just pick it up and then put it down and be done. But whereas Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I just put it down.
I dropped that one too.
I dropped it like a bad habit.
I was maybe like 3/4 of the way through that book, and I was like, meh.
No. Most of the time,
I haven't looked at it since.
Most of the time, if you're not feeling a book, I'm a big advocate of just saying, move on. Just put it aside.
Yeah, don't mess with that.
Okay, so question number 3 is, you are getting to the end of the year, and on your Goodreads list, you are getting so close to your goal. Are you gonna push forward and complete the challenge, or are you just gonna kind of
call it a day?
Call it a day and go with the flow. And to be completely honest, I would just kind of go with the flow. I mean, I'm one of those people where I'm not going to force myself to do something that I'm not wanting to do, because then I'm not going to get the enjoyment out of it. I'm not going to remember it, and it's going to be a waste of my time. Whereas if I push through, I'm probably not going to be as happy with the decisions that I make.
Yeah, that's true. Whereas I was thinking of it in terms of like, if it's a project, like I'm one of those people that's like, I'll push through. I'll do the thing. Like, sleep is not important. People suck anyway. So I'm just gonna get it done.
Just do it.
And but that's with things that I'm getting graded on. Yeah, and are important.
This isn't it. But this would be people judging you if you
and judging is big. Like, if people are gonna judge me, I'll
people judge me all the time, and I don't care.
I know. But same, I'm sure. I get plenty of attention for that.
Okay.
When you're weird. So, our next one, number 4, is the cover of the book you are reading does not match what it is. Or like a book that you love, like covers, they're just not pulling it together. How do you cope? They're not the same.
For me, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's about the content of the book, and as long as the story remains the same, it doesn't matter what edition I end up with, as long as I own it. The big thing is, it needs to be mine. It needs to be on my shelf.
It belong to me now.
Yes, and so I'm not really as picky about the art. Yeah, it would be nice to have cover art match, but it's not a big deal for me.
That's not an issue for me either. Like in a series, it matching. My usual issues are, does it match the story at all? And like I even brought up to Crystal, like Poison Study. Like in my mind, the cover that she has for Poison Study does not match my image of what the story is. And like for me, number one thing is like the clothing and the fashion, because that's what I do.
What?
I know.
You're a clothing designer and you're concerned about the attire. Go figure.
I'm concerned about the attire. Because if they go through the point of like describing what the attire is and you don't even try, I get a little sad.
So number 5 is everyone and their mother is in love with the book that you just don't like. Who do you bond with in your same feelings? And the answer is this girl right here. It's you because you pretty much have the same sort of
we do have similar taste and sentiment, yeah,
on books, and so if it's something that you enjoy, I know that I'll enjoy, and vice versa.
And so she's like, so can I borrow Bloodbound?
Yes, or you must read this book.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Oh my god, it's amazing! But, you know, we can go ahead and back each other up on things like, well, we just mentioned it, Girl with the Dragon
Tattoo.
Just, no. I don't understand how so many people like that book. I don't.
Elizabeth seems cool, and then it's like, why would you sleep with him?
Well, it's not even that. But anyways, we're not gonna rant. But this is my number one girl for.
I'd say you're probably my number one too, because I cannot go to my mother with books I don't like, because my mother will be like, but that's a classic, Shannon. And I'll be like, okay.
Doesn't matter, Shannon.
But
you can still hate it, Shannon.
I know, right?
I'll let you.
You're so good to me. So 6 is you're reading a book in public and you are totally about to cry. How do you deal with it?
This is totally you.
This is totally me.
You. I don't cry at books, so I
cry over anything.
Yes,
I have feelings.
I am a hard person.
I am soft and pudgy.
My name is Crystal because I'm a rock.
I'm a river. I don't know if
that's the.
I'm water. The river of tears that's constantly streaming down my face. I just like.
How do you deal? How do you deal?
How do I deal?
How do you deal?
Like I'll usually put my head down, and sometimes I'll let my bangs try and like cover, or I'll put on sunglasses. Otherwise, I literally just get teary-eyed, and I'll sometimes be like, "Yep, that happened."
Yep, that happened.
I kind of just. Sometimes you just gotta embrace it or like stop. It's very few times. Like if I'm on a train, I'll just be like, feelings. And I'll maybe put my book down until a creep tries to talk to me. So
makes sense.
And then I'll just cry.
So number 7 is a sequel comes out in a series that you loved, but it's been a while. So the question is, how do you approach it? Do you reread the first book? Do you go ahead and plunge straight into it? Do you
try and find a synopsis online of the first one to kind of catch yourself up again,
or your answer is, do you just cry?
Or you just cry? My answer is, believe it or not, I do not just cry. I won't reread. My usual answer is like if I really forgot a lot, I'll find a synopsis, and if I read a synopsis, it'll bring a lot back. Like, if I'm reading through and it'll bring back character names and plot details, then I'll start to remember more and more.
And here's the thing about me. My nickname is Goldfish. I have a 5-second memory. I've literally been in the middle of a conversation and forgot what I was talking about.
I know, so, my other nickname's Struggle Bunny.
Yeah, that's why we work so well together. Yay! But as far as this situation goes, I'd probably actually reread the book because there'd be the little things that I know that I would enjoy that you wouldn't get from a synopsis. And I am horrible at memory and probably would have a hard time recalling it even if I were just to jump straight into the book. And as we talked about in the last question, I wouldn't cry over it. So I just reread it, which is kind of what I did with a series, which I'm trying to I decided to look for, and I don't even know where it is. It's Kim Harrison's Dead Witch Walking series, and I just picked up book 7. And I'm like, you know what? I should reread the whole thing. That sounds like fun. I remember
I do have a really good memory. So for me, it's like I can't. Like, there are certain things, you know, I'll never remember, but for the most part, I'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So, our next one is how do you approach the deal of people wanting to borrow your books, and you're like, nope, you cannot borrow my books. Like, you don't want anyone touching your babies. How do you deal?
Really, I don't have a hard time with people borrowing my books. Yeah. On the off occasion,
you let me borrow all your books.
Well, you bring them back though. That's the thing. If it's someone that I don't trust or I don't think I'm gonna get it back from, I'll just flat out be like, nah, no. Sorry, dude. Nah. It's not gonna happen.
I've never had this issue with books, but I have had this issue with CDs. And I just straight up started saying, no, I'm never, ever. This is so early 2000s. Yeah, I lent people CDs nowadays. It's like,
oh, you're
all
so
online.
Old.
I am not,
though.
I am such a baby. But, like, I lent CDs out to people, and I'd get them back all scratched, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. Like, no. I'm a big music person. You my CDs, I cry.
Books, I mean, I can always rebuy books. I just forget who I borrow things to.
If I had more money, I could rebuy my CDs.
So, number 9 is reading ADD. You've picked up like 5 books in the last month and haven't been able to finish them. So how do you get out of your reading slump?
Never had this problem.
Me, I just push through it. I mean, I want to make sure that I am finishing books. So, unlike... And this kind of goes along with the reading list question for how many numbers. I'm not really so numbers concerned, but I do want to finish a book. So I will find time and sit down, and maybe it's just the writer or the genre. Yeah, so and that's why you pick up 5 and you just figure out which one you're in the mood for and then read only that one. So it's pretty easy for me to get out of the slump.
I read like how I eat. I eat one thing at a time, and then I move on to the next thing.
You could eat.
So our next one is there are so many books coming out that you want to read. How many do you end up actually buying?
As many as I want. I'm an adult and I have money.
Probably none of them, so I just borrow them from her.
No, to be all serious, I am not the type of person to go to a Barnes & Noble.
No.
I support half-price books, or I'll find it on Amazon, Uncle Hugo's, or I will go ahead and look for it on a digital on the library. So it really... Buying books, I'll wait until they show up in one of those places.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me when they actually came out because there's so many books that are good that I'm not really going to be...
People don't spoil books as much as they spoiled Game of Thrones.
I'm not...
So... I don't even watch Game of Thrones. What? Am I being shady?
You're bringing that up here? I get that. So, the final question number 11, is after you've bought all these books, how long do they sit on your shelf before you actually read them? There are still books that I bought over 10 years ago on my shelves that I haven't touched yet.
Same piece.
And it really just depends on what mood I am in. I'm not going to force myself to read something that I'm not mentally ready for because you won't like it. It's the same way with a movie. If you've been told that you need to watch this movie and you're not mentally ready for it, you're not going to enjoy it. So I have books...
My experience with Anchorman.
I'm never going to touch Anchorman. But my experience with books is if something calls to me, I'll pick it up. I don't have a problem picking it up. And when it comes time to actually reading it, I will wait until it is the right time.
To you.
Exactly. I mean, I would say, that being said, most of my library has been read. I don't have as big of a TBR pile here as some people that I know. So my ratio is pretty awesome.
But I also one sad bookshelf. I'm also in a good place, but that's not a very good place.
Ratio.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of books.
Yes.
And I really don't have a lot. So, and I eat up, I'd say, about 7 to 10 books a month on average. So I'm pretty good with keeping up with what I buy too. So.
Whereas 4 was really good for me, but I'm still in school.
Yes,
so.
you're still in school, so I forgive you.
Oh, good.
Anyways, that is our bookish problem tag. Go ahead and, if you are so inclined, do a response video. I want to see what your bookish problems are and how you would
be a struggle bunny with me.
Yeah. Let us know what you think, if you agree with our answers. If you don't want to do a video, go ahead and comment below here. Go ahead and subscribe, like us, you know the deal. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.